Alright, time for the fun part. We have all of the insights that Billy found visualized here. So now it's time to display them all in a dashboard to really tie them together and tell a single comprehensive story. So let's create a dashboard tab and let's get started here. I'm going to start by removing the grid lines. And in the past, we've stuck with the size of the Excel window for the dashboard, but this time we actually don't need to. You see, once we're finished, we're just going to save this dashboard as an image, so we don't really need to worry about everything fitting in here. That said, we do still need to have some idea of the limits that we're going to be working with. Now, images and screens are typically 1920 by 1080p, so we can use that ratio and create a shape that we can use as the bounds for our dashboard. So again, we want it to be 1920, so let's do 19.2 by 1080, so 10.8. Let's align this to the top left of our screen here, and you'll see that we get this really big rectangle. Now I don't really want to be having to scroll to the side to look at my dashboard, so what I'm going to do is just select the shape, and here in the size options, I'm going to lock the aspect ratio and then just reduce the width until it's the same width as my screen here. Alright, that looks good. Now it is a little bit taller than what we're looking at, but I really don't have any problem having to scroll down. Now let's just remove the fill from the shape. And now we can work on our dashboard and we know exactly what size that we need it to be. So since this is an explanatory dashboard, I'd like to lead off with the recommendation that we'll be making. I'm going to insert a shape, get a text box in here, and I'm not going to worry about wording just yet. We can figure that out once the elements are in place, but for now let's just place a placeholder in here. So recommendation, make this bigger. And I'm going to add a blue header for it. So insert, let's get a shape in here. Make it dark blue. Just place it on the top corner here. And I think this was 15.5 at the end. Alright. Let's make this a little bit taller. Then just grab my recommendation, bring it to the front. Let's remove the fill and just make the text white instead. There's those borders. Alright. So we have our recommendation in the header now. And after that, I'd like to include subtitles of sorts that will split up my visuals into two categories. So one where we are describing the problem, and another where we outline the opportunity. So let's get some text boxes in here. Press Ctrl Shift and drag. Let's make the text black and smaller since this is a subtitle. And this is going to be for the problem. And then let's just Ctrl Shift and opportunity. And I'm just going to add a similar bar like this one. So Ctrl Shift. Let's drag this down. I'm going to change it to maybe a gray color. Let's make this smaller. Bring these to the front. Problem on one side, opportunity on the other. Let's get rid of the outline here. And now let's just add a line that goes straight down the middle and splits the dashboard up. So let's do that. Let's place it aligned in the center here. And I'm just going to make it the same color and make it thicker. Now let's just resize. Alright. Now, time to actually figure out where everything is going to live. So, as you know, instead of simply bringing in all the visuals, let's take a step back and get organized. And I'm going to start by simply adding the titles for each visual. So let's select this, shift and drag, make it a little bit smaller as well. So we've got our seasonality visual. We've got the revenue loss visual. We've got our stacked bar showing the share of cancellations. And then we've got the final two bar charts that show the final comparison. Again, these are just placeholders for me to work with, but now let's figure out where each of these visuals is going to live. So are they visualizing the problem or are they visualizing the opportunity? And to figure that out, let's jump back into our analysis tab. So we've got the seasonality here, we've got the revenue loss, got the share of cancellation, and we've got the final comparisons. Now, I'd say that these two are describing the problem because we're showing how this seasonality is affecting our revenue loss in here. And then we're identifying these two areas of opportunity that we could work with. So let's split it up that way. Go back to dashboard and add another shape. And this is just going to represent my visuals. So seasonality first. Get these out of the way. And then I'm just going to take advantage that we already have this here. Control copy this all down. And we've got a revenue loss. So let's get rid of this. And again, so everything's aligned, I can select these, Control Shift and drag this way. Let's move our opportunity to the left here. And this is going to be share of cancellations, which is actually just a stacked bar, so it's not going to be this big. Let's resize this. We can get rid of this. And once more, Control Shift apply it down for our final comparison. Delete this one. And this is actually two charts, so let's resize this. And now we've got our two bar charts. Now you'll notice that we do have some extra space down here, and in this case it's perfect because we have already stated our recommendation in the top here, and that's just to lead things off. But I would also like to finish by reiterating the recommendation now that the end users have looked at all the facts. So let's add some more text boxes in here. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger since this is a recommendation again. Let's just call it final recommendation. And I'm going to add another text box where I just add more detail. So make this smaller. And let's get a box in here. I'm just going to give it an outline this time. Maybe make it yellow and a little bit thicker. And now that we do have our framework ready, let's actually bring in our visuals. So let's start with this one. Let's copy this, Control X, and paste it in here. And if I select both, I can align them. So align this to this top and to the left. And now let's just resize. Get rid of this. And now bring in our revenue loss. Cut. Let's paste it in here. Align left and top. Let's get rid of this as well. And let's resize once more. Make sure we can see our text box here. Bring in our share of cancellations. Align this as well. And now our two bar charts. So the cancellation rates. And the average daily rate. Let's take a look in full screen here. And I think that's actually looking pretty decent. All we do need to do now is think about our titles, subtitles, and our text here to really tell this story. And that's going to be the focus of the next lecture.